Hey everybody, Kevin Bross at GetBitOutdoors here. Going to show you how to install an EVA foam grip with heat shrink. I'm going to use a microwave, and I'm also going to cut the cork or the foam grip and show you some tips and tricks along the way. So I'm using a SWV 80 ml blank here. This is for a friend of mine who's building a gator hunting rod. So this is used for snagging alligators. First thing I'm going to do is chuck it in my Alps wrapper here. This grip is going to be a little too long for what I want to do, so I'm going to shorten it. I'm going to show you how I shorten it, and then I'm going to also show you how I make this grip work on a blank that's a little too big for it. As you can see, the grip won't slide down a whole lot further. This EVA is pretty hard, and that taper is pretty steep, so I may or may not be able to push that down all the rest of the way. So I'm going to microwave it a little bit and soften that EVA up to get it down there. Here in the next step, I go ahead and measure an inch with my 3-in-1 tool. I'm going to cut that inch of EVA off the grip here because I want to change from 12 inch to 11 inches. I'm making that mark extra clear with my China marker so that when I spin it up in the wrapper, it's easy to see at high speed. Just press that thread down and that EVA gets cut nice and clean. Next, I'm going to go ahead and get my butt cap ready so that when I slide my rear grip down, I'm hitting the cap. So I'm starting from the bottom all the way up. I'm going to get nice and snug. I end up doing 2 rings there, not too tight, but just snug enough to center the butt cap. Here I'm going to go ahead and mix up some next level lockdown. It does a great job holding all your components in place. At the same time, it mixes really well. It doesn't sag or droop, and it locks everything down right where you want it. It flexes with the rod blank so that it does not crack. And you can see here it's real creamy and smooth, easy to wipe away with your popsicle stick, and you can take a paper towel with a little bit of alcohol if you want to. Cleanup is a big deal when building rods. I can't stand a mess, and once you get on your hands, it's sticky. So go ahead and just clean up as you go. Here I'm going to go ahead and take my rear grip. I've wrapped it in a paper towel. This paper towel has been dampened so that when I stick it in the microwave, it's not going to overheat or dry out. Don't typically do this, but this grip was really tight and the next size up was too big. So I'm going to go ahead and lather up the section of blank there with lockdown paste. That way it's going to get between that grip and the blank and lock it down. And once it dries, you can see here the microwave soften up that grip just enough to where it's going to stretch and make it even easier to slide it all the way down. Typically EVA has enough different size options where you can get what you need, but again in this case we just microwaved it a little bit to make it extra easy. Don't overdo it. You can definitely warp your grip and cook it in the microwave. Just about 20 seconds at a shot is all you need. Here we're going to go ahead and wipe away the excess next level from sliding the grip down, and then I'm going to mark my blank where my real seat is going to sit so I know how to space out my masking tape arbors. I typically use 3 arbors on a reel seat. Different size widths tapes help a lot. In this case, I'm using a 1-inch masking tape that makes life a lot easier. Again, making the tapes just tall enough, the tape rings just tall enough so that the reel seat gets snug but not too tight. You want to make sure you get plenty of epoxy in there, and if it's too tight, it will squeegee the epoxy out. Again, lockdown paste does an awesome job. Doesn't drip or sag. And before I slide my reel seat down on the epoxy, I'm taking some electrical tape here and I'm going to wrap it around the threads on the reel seat. That allows me to keep my threads perfectly clean. All the extra buildup is going to go up and over the tape, and once I wipe it away, I can then unwrap my tape and it just peels all the extra epoxy off and it keeps my threads perfectly clean. If you don't use it, that's fine as well. You can definitely clean them out with a paper towel and a little bit of rubbing alcohol, but peeling that tape off makes life so much easier. And the electrical tape does the best job in my opinion because it squeezes in and gets in between all those threads, so it does a much better job keeping the epoxy off. Now we're ready to go ahead and measure up our heat shrink here. You can see I've put a pinch in the heat shrink at the same length of the foregrip, and I gave myself about an extra half an inch or so, maybe 3/4 of an inch, just to make sure I have enough overlap so when it does shrink down, it doesn't pull past the edges of the grip it actually will rip down around, or I should say shrink down around the edges of the grip. I'll put the excess towards the bottom side of the grip that's going to get covered by the reel seat. That way if I have any cuts or edges that aren't perfectly clean, they get covered up by the reel seat. I'll start heat shrinking just lightly. Again, my heat gun here is on low. Go low and slow. Start from the middle, work your way out, and then kind of work your way towards the edges. You'll see the right amount of heat. Once it kicks in, it starts to pull down pretty quick. Here I get my hands pretty hot and start to laugh here. So I take the 3-in-1 tool to kind of hold the grip for me so my fingers are a little further away from the heat. One little trick here is once you've got the whole grip shrink down pretty well, I'll heat the end of it. That's going to be the front end, the visible end, one last time, and I'll press it down against my table and hold it there until it cools. It's going to take a set there nice and flush so that you have a very clean edge on the front side. On the back side, it's going to go up against a reel seat. I have the most excess, so I'm going to go ahead and take some thread and cut that off by just putting it on a scrap piece of blank and running some thread down to it. You can cut it with a razor blade or a 3-in-1 tool. I like using thread. It's quick, easy, and clean. Now I'm going to go ahead and start spreading lockdown paste up on my blank where my foregrip's going to slide down. Again, I'm going to take the lockdown up past where my foregrip's actually going to start. That way it acts like a lubricant and gets plenty of epoxy in there. It doesn't just squeegee out. So there it is. We have EVA, heat shrink, Fuji reel seat. Just a beautiful, simple handle setup. You guys, if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to ask. Whether you are a first-time builder or you're a wholesale builder, GetBitOutdoors is more than happy to help. We appreciate y'all. We love sharing these tips and tricks. If you have any ideas, please let us know. And please like, share, subscribe, comment. All that good stuff goes a long way to help us stay up high in the algorithm so that more people see these tips and tricks. Have an awesome day, and God bless.